Welcome to Created Healthy. I'm Dawn Combs. It's a common idea that God gave us everything we need in nature, but do we believe it enough to walk that out in truth? Often the very same people who say this go looking for answers on how to use food and medicine from man-made sources. Everything man creates comes with a user's manual. Why would God be any different? I challenge you to join me in seeking revelation about our body, mind, soul, and spirit health by digging into His written word and in practicing pure science in the visible world of His creation. As I counsel people who are looking to take more control over their health again and to work on healing imbalances in their body, I'm always puzzled by the way that people view doctors as their high priest or their God or their parent, somebody who has ultimate authority over them. And I think reading through Leviticus 13 through 15 today kind of pulls at that thread. Looking at leprosy, these chapters really detail in excruciatingly long, painful, drawn-out story here of how to address leprosy. It is going to the priest to go for diagnostics, and the priest is looking for specific symptoms, and then they quarantine the person, and then after that they're looking for more symptoms. And there seems to be this sort of diagnostic criteria that they are aware of. Raw flesh, separation, white hairs in the wounds. There are concerns about looking at their garments, their clothing, special instructions on how to cleanse and restore somebody who has been healed after a quarantine, how to reintroduce them into society, and ensure that nothing that they own and nothing that is about their person, that it could continue to pass on. Of course, we know today that leprosy is a bacterial disease, and it is something that is typically treated with antibiotics. But here in Leviticus, we have people coming to the priest for looking over their rashes and their skin ailments and looking for mold and mildew. And the priest here is very obviously called out as the medical professional. And I think about, it makes me think about the other cultures that I've looked at and the other practices of medicine around the world. And it does seem as though the more you trace the roots of any kind of healing practice, you find a god or gods at the root. So Western medicine is at the root through Hippocrates and Galen and all of the folks that we look at as the foundational people for Western medicine. They were worshiping Asclepius, and their oath was to honor and worship Asclepius. We still claim that today, but I think today we have this mixture of confusion between whether the doctor is a high priest of a god, and what is that god, or he is treated as godlike. And in that way, we expect our physicians, as consumers, we're looking for them to be without fault, to be perfect, to be all-knowing, to be able to see through to any illness and then to heal any illness, and to have that information to work without sleep or needing any kind of a community support or any human need of sustenance and blood sugar maintenance. We have kind of converted this into our hospitals now, where the doctor is this inhuman, this superhuman figure that can heal us with the power of a God. And it's very interesting to me that this dilemma, this struggle is already here in Leviticus as God is founding his chosen people, the people that he is going to walk with and give the benefit of relationship with, that there will be a relationship with a healer. And he is rooting it in a healer that is also able to look at your spiritual aspect. So there is a holistic nature here. We're looking at somebody's position in the community, we're looking at their family, we're looking at their emotional aspect, and we're dealing with the spiritual aspect all at the same time as addressing what's going on in the body. And of course, there's the element here that illness itself has a spiritual aspect, and I think that's a thread that maybe I'll pick at in other podcasts here, or maybe offline. I definitely want to talk about women and menstrual quote-unquote impurity. That's something that I could have talked about in this whole session. I think that it's definitely something that is worth talking about, but it's a whole other I would need more time to develop that, to really talk about it properly. So I think I want to take that offline too. I think today it's enough to look at how God is founding our healing and the need for it to be whole. So we're coming through from yesterday's reading of the notion of what clean and unclean is. I'm inviting you to look at that as an imbalance or a weakness in the body is something that can become dangerous for us to approach God with. Especially at this time in the Old Testament, people needed to be fully sound and without weakness so that they weren't in danger of being destroyed. And illness is absolutely going to imbalance us. It is important that we are fully sound and healthy to be able to interact with God. Even now in the new covenant, we are only able to fulfill our promise and our purpose when we are fully healthy and not focused on illness. But here we have a foundation of maybe a more appropriate way to approach a healer. I don't think that we can approach our doctors. That's not what I'm saying. We cannot approach them as folks that are going to heal our spiritual illnesses. And because we have separated our ministry out from our physicians, we can't approach our pastor to heal our body. But I think that there is a oneness that we probably should be looking at, because many Christians I'm seeing are approaching the medical sciences and they're still stuck in what is right and true, what we were actually taught from the very beginning to do, that we are able to give that person who's a healer the authority. We can give them authority over our bodies because they are informed from God. They are standing in the gap between us and God. And so what they say for our body is being spoken through them from our Creator, being the person that, or the entity that knows our cells the best. I think we've gotten confused now, and we're giving this level of importance to those who are doling out prescriptions. And while it feels right because it's biblical, it has been usurped. It is a power that is being usurped, perhaps for the worship of a false god. And it is a dangerous place to be if we aren't coming to Western medicine looking for them to heal the body, but giving all of the the glory and the recognition for the ability and the power to heal to the correct God, to the only God. We are in a delicate position when healing and using Western medicine that is admittedly very confusing and very tricky. And just a little interesting moment here where we were taught originally that our medical healing was within that priesthood. And how do we fix that? How do we fix that now? How can we set our mindset to encompass that understanding and not overstep what it is that we're looking for somebody else or some other entity to do for us other than God? How can we stay out of trouble? I pray that God is blessing you today, and that this is something that we are all wrestling with and need to wrestle with, this question. How are we using Western medicine without making it our God, without making the doctor our high priest or our God? How are we using it in appropriate ways and still leaning on God to protect us and to heal us? Really interesting. I pray that God is helping you to navigate those thoughts today, and that He brings you back tomorrow with lots of curiosity to dig into His Word and study with me. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share with a friend. And I'm always interested in hearing what God is laying on your heart. So drop me a rating or review, or join the conversation on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube at Dawn Combs Really.